This podcast is part of Pearson's professional development series for reading and writing instructors.
My name's Tim Taylor. I'm the director of the Writing Center and assistant professor of English at Eastern Illinois University. I'm talking about how to use codes as a concept to help basic writers navigate discourse communities, and also talking about how we can use methods and strategies from professional writing to really invigorate and hopefully make basic writing courses more relevant to students. I have a bunch of different perspectives, and one would be as director of the Writing Center. We have a number of basic writers who come in to our Writing Center working on various papers, whether it's history, psychology. They're just not taking the basic writing course. So they're required to write a number of different papers, and the idea of codes has been really helpful for me because I am a first-generation college student, and to me, the idea of writing academic discourse is sort of like working in a different code. So it's a concept I've used in my basic writing classrooms to really map what's expected out of them at college when they're writing for diverse audiences. So early on in the semester, I tend to have an activity, probably in the first week, where we talk about discourse communities, which sounds like a really far off, tough concept to get, but once we start talking about it and breaking it down, it becomes more relevant to their lives because discourse communities are related to codes of language, the way we talk to different people. It really boils down to audience. So we identify discourse communities who are united by similar values and beliefs, similar habits of thinking, problem solving, and ways of communicating, common ways of expression, jargon, dialect, what have you. And then there's discourse communities that are united by various factors like a certain profession or job, organization, hobbies and interests, place, emotional and intellectual beliefs, really. With those principles in mind, we pull from their experience, the students' experiences, how writing in a science class is different than a history course, how their friends who like muscle cars have their own jargon and values, how the language of a restaurant is for insiders, but also can be quite colorful and, tough to understand if you're an outsider, how regional dialects create confusion, how churches in their community present themselves differently because of different values and beliefs and attitudes. So for me, it's become sort of a core principle to introduce this idea of you writing a certain code for a certain audience. And along that line, I've also been, motivated by the research by Edward Decky, who has, for the past 30 years or so, really looked into internal motivation and external motivation and how we need to use assignments that really tap into what students want to learn. Because often they come into the basic writing classes just kind of going through the motions. It doesn't count for credit, and they might have a negative attitude toward the course. So what I like to do is use cases from business writing, from professional communication, and kind of show them, here's a rhetorical situation you might be in. Say, your funding, your financial aid is going to run out, and you have to write a letter to the financial aid office to explain, how you did poorly in the first semester of your first year, but then now you're doing much better. So that could be a case such as that, or even writing one assignment that's not necessarily a case, but really taps into the internal motivation is a career profile paper. I can tell them that writing is important to their lives and to their profession a lot, but a lot of times they need outside reinforcement for that because they're all interested in getting a job and a stable profession. Why wouldn't they? So I use a career profile paper to really tap into, here's the profession I'm interested in, here's the background in education I need to get, here's the experiences I need to have, and also what communication skills are important in this job. So a lot of times the students, I give them option A or option B. Option A, which is what most students take, is interviewing someone in this profession, which can really be an eye-opener because they finally realize, instead of me just telling them that writing and speaking effectively is important, they have someone else, a nurse, an engineer, a manager, who is telling them that most of what I do, 60, 70% of what I do is write. So that can be, really, as I said, an eye-opener, wakes them up to the idea that writing, yes, is very important in any profession that they choose. So I think to a degree, we really need to bring in, additionally, maybe professional writing samples, and you have them write memos, short reports, letters. Because with the basic writing course, a lot of times you start out with shorter assignments, and those short assignments can really cater to their professional interests and also showing them a good letter for a job application. It has a bottom line, just like a thesis is directs the attention of a strong essay. So really just bringing in the case method, comparing and contrasting professional writing to academic writing and seeing the similarities, and also just really presenting what the language that they're working in as a code appropriate to a discourse community.
For more podcasts and other resources, please visit Pearson's professional development community site at www.englishinstructorexchange.com.